It's my privilege to introduce the co-chairs of the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance, Minister Dan Jorgensen and Minister Andrea Meza Murillo, who will each give opening remarks before we open the floor to the founding members and welcome the founding members on stage and then take questions. We will then close this press conference with a photo of the founding members of BOGA, and there will be time for individual interviews with the co-chairs and some of the founding members outside afterwards. So with that, Minister Jorgensen, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I've really been looking forward for this day. It's such a pleasure to be able to announce an initiative that we hope will make a real and big difference. Our goal is not small. Our ambition is not modest. We hope that today will mark the beginning of the end of oil and gas. When I talk to scientists, citizens, and activists, they all want one thing more than anything else: bold and tangible action. Not talk, action. That is what the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance is here to deliver. We, the 11 founding governments, have decided to move beyond oil and gas. This might sound like a straightforward course of action. After all, we are all charting a common course for net zero, and yet it is somehow provocative to state that we need to end our own production of fossil fuels. This effort, going beyond fossil fuels, will no doubt be hard, but we don't answer this call for the thrill of the challenge. We do it because we truly believe that we need to, because we're unwilling to accept the consequences if we don't, because the IPCC has sounded a code red for humanity, because there's no future for oil and gas in a 1.5-degree world. That is the bottom line of all major reports from the IPCC, the IEA, the UNEP, etc. In other words, the fossil era must come to an end. But just as the Stone Age did not end due to the lack of stone, the fossil era will not end because there's no more oil left in the ground. It will end because governments decide to do the right thing, because they decide to phase out the production of oil and gas. That is why we, together with our Costa Rican friends, decided to launch this alliance, BOGA, the Beyond Oil and Gas Alliance. As the first state-led initiative in this field, BOGA will bring the issue of production phase-out into the heart of the international climate discussion. It will set a clear direction for governments who are stepping up to lead on climate. The idea of production phase-out is not new. Others have produced the knowledge base and raised the awareness before us. BOGA is the natural extension of that work. Let me just very briefly zoom in on the Danish decision. Denmark is one of the largest oil producers in the EU, and we've decided to instate a 2050 deadline for phasing out production and to cancel all future licensing rounds. Now we extend the challenge to others. We invite you to lead in the fight against climate change with us, because the science has spoken, because the time for oil and gas is running out, because there's no planet B. Let us build a better world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Minister Meza.
Thank you, Shanna. Thank you, Dan, for this very inspiring introduction. And I think that this is what it's all about, is to have courage to really come with concrete actions. We are hearing the world outside these walls, and we know that science is clear. We really need to accelerate action. And when we're talking about how to accelerate action, we've been addressing the demand side. And yes, it is important. We are in this pathway towards decarbonization, and we need to continue addressing the demand side for sure. But we cannot also leave the supply side there. We need to start this conversation. We need to start seeing concrete measures around the supply side as well. And this is why BOGA is launched, is to start this conversation around the production of oil and gas, which we know is not an easy conversation in any of the countries, even in a country like mine. We are not producers, but we do have reserves. So there's always a push to try to use those reserves. So I think it's very important that we manage to have a platform that will continue to generate momentum, political momentum, that will be a platform to have an exchange of knowledge, of good practices, of good policies, because we recognize that this will not be an easy journey. And it is also about acknowledging that every dollar that we invest in fossil fuel projects, it is one less dollar for renewables or for the conservation of nature. And we need coherence. We need alignment of the different financial flows. This is something that we are saying in the rooms inside the negotiation aspects that we are here right now. So it's about how to really leverage momentum for this conversation, how to invite other countries and jurisdictions to join the alliance. And it's about continuing talking and continuing engaging other countries and jurisdictions. As you will see, BOGA has a tier membership structure with gradually raising levels of ambition. We have core members of BOGA that commit to end new concessions and licensing or leasing rounds for oil and gas production and exploration, and to set a Paris-aligned debt for ending oil and gas production and exploration in their jurisdictions. We also have associate members of BOGA that will have taken significant concrete steps that contribute to the reduction of oil and gas production. We have 5 specific criteria by which a member can join. And this is something that you can visit our website and see these specific criteria. And we also have friends of BOGA that are also governments and partners that can sign the declaration. And we know that we will be then doing this exchange of experiences, of learning, and we know then can be moving from one category to the other if we see that we are taking steps towards those ends. In our case, we ban fossil fuels by a decree to a moratorium on exploration and exploitation of fossil fuels almost 20 years ago. 3 governments has passed and we have maintained that decree, but we are seeing a lot of pressure right now for the exploration and exploitation, and for this reason, we are trying to pass a bill. So this is also one of the other elements that we're working on right now, to have and to be coherent with this 1.5 goal. So we're raising the bar of what ambition is, and we hope that we will be seeing other countries and jurisdiction and friends and private sector joining for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.